All right, let's see. Joe Rogan and Andrew Schulz discussing Trump versus Bernie Sanders. We're going to start off with this one. Joe Rogan is doing a leftist, liberal heel turn once again, folks.
I hate someone like Trump because Trump believes he should be president and he wants to be president.
Yes, and there's something a little icky about it.
Out of here.
Dude, and I think that what was so endearing about Bernie, it was like, this motherfucker don't want to win, he wants to help. Now, is his idea of help, do you agree with it? That's to be said by the average person. But did you feel like he cared about winning and controlling?
No.
I never got that sense from him.
No, I got a sense that he genuinely...
I love these convos, dude. I love these convos because it's like very clearly, this is how the average American thinks about politics. It's all shapes, colors, and sizes. That's it. The average American citizen is not thinking about like the actions of a political party. They're thinking about charitability. They're thinking about like whether they think the vibes are f***ed or not. That's it. Straight up. And Bernie's vibes were good. He had a lot of hatred from people who are already despised, like the Democratic Party, like the Democratic institution, like the Republican Party as well. You know, he was able to get vibe checked into oblivion. And that's it. And I know this from my own personal experience, both canvassing and also talking to people in the real world. Anytime I talk to people about Bernie Sanders, I don't even talk about his policies. I don't talk about democratic socialism. I talk about how honest he comes across. Whenever we talk about politicians in a larger group, literally all I do is bring up the fact that like, well, you know, Bernie is honest. You know, he's been fucked over by all of those very same villains. And people do see mainstream media as villainous. People do see, politicians as villainous across the board. So the fact that like Bernie has an antagonistic relationship with both the mainstream media and also with, these institutionalists is a really good thing. It's a great thing, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, that's not how politicians are selected. The mechanism of control, especially within the Democratic primaries, where the impact is noticed the most. That revolves almost entirely around not a vibe check, but about like how easily and how successfully people can push, the MSNBC watchers can get pushed to the polls, because those are the main people that vote in the Democratic primaries. And Bernie twice tried to go against that and failed. That's just the unfortunate reality. I don't know if there's ever going to be a way to get over that. I don't know if there's ever going to be a candidate that can combat that with a media narrative and a media message that, pushes beyond the boundaries of like MSNBC. But whoever it is going to need to do that. Isn't that the fault of the electorate for being such easily manipulable idiots, at least those that care to vote in the Dem primary? No, that's not how I think about these sorts of things, man. Shifting the blame over back to the individual is just like American, it's just like weirdly hyper-individualistic Ameribrain bullshit. It's not up to the individual. It's not. It's just the truth. Like, we're talking about systemic change. Ask your marginalized friends if they feel protected. If you don't have any, get some or shut the fuck up. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's why I said that. I don't think women feel like the Democratic Party is adequately protecting their rights right now. I don't think trans people think that the Democratic Party is adequately protecting their rights right now. I don't think undocumented immigrants think the Democratic Party is protecting their rights adequately right now, especially considering that the Democratic Party is either directly contributing to the problem by continuing Trump-era provisions like Title 42, or they are straight up just campaigning off of it without putting forward any sort of like serious fight. No serious pushback whatsoever. No serious fight whatsoever. I mean, think about it this way. Think about how little media coverage the two bills got so far. Two bills have been passed in the House of Representatives this past week. One was about legislating a protection for access to contraceptives, which is a genuine problem or will become a genuine problem, right? Protecting that at the federal level is important, is really important. The other one is about protecting gay marriage. There is no media pushback. There is no fucking like going into, making the rounds on mainstream media and like routinely talking about it. There's no bouldering of the Republican Party talking about how like 157 Republicans voted no for protecting gay marriage. Like they're not even doing that. The only thing they're doing right now is January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. It's only trying to present the Republican Party as a violent party ready to do fascism, which is true, but that's been true. And if your only goal is to showcase how crazy they are and then rely on the electorate to go out and vote for you as a defensive mechanism without actually doing anything to implement defenses, or without even showing the defensive legislation that you're proposing, then why the fuck are people going to vote for you? Do you see what I'm saying? So even in instances where the Democrats are actually doing something right, they're doing something adequate, they're not hyping that. They're not showing that they're doing something. It's like they are scared of showcasing efficiency. They're scared of showing that they're even doing the right thing. How crazy is that? Yes, they're always relying on the lesser of two evils as long as people are willing to buy into the idea that there's no better alternative, but there isn't any better alternative. That's the reality. That's the unfortunate reality. What are they supposed to do, Hasan? Try? You're being hysterical, Sweaty. That's true. I mean, we already talked about this. This was the Pied Piper strategy, and it fucking failed. Like, they literally propped up Trump on purpose because they thought Trump would be the easiest to defeat out of all the fucking Republican Party candidates. And guess what happened? It blew up in their fucking faces, no? And they're still doing that. The Democrats are still doing this right now. They're doing it in fucking Pennsylvania with the governor. And they're going to continue doing this. It's fucking insane. And it's an inherent contradiction. If the Republican Party is fucking fascist, is full of fascists, then you can't give them money and prop up the most fascist candidates personally. It doesn't work that way, right? But they're doing that. They're propping up the fascists, crying about how they're fascists, and then literally funding their campaigns because they think they're easier to defeat. And then what happens when they don't lose? What happens when they win? And that can happen. And it happened with Donald Trump. You can't also say they're fascists and then be like, we have to find, a bipartisan solution. We have to find an adequate middle ground. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what Democrats keep doing. And Americans aren't already like equipped with some kind of ideological backing. They do not understand why they're voting for certain individuals. They're doing vibe checks anyway. So to those Americans, if you try to describe these strategies, they're going to be like, well, what the fuck? On the one hand, you're saying they're racist, fascist pieces of shit. On the other hand, you're saying we got to compromise with them. Which one is it? What's Rogan saying that's liberal? Well, we're watching it right now.
When you can go to all these different things that would use to benefit society. I was like, I'm in.
That sounds good.
Is that real? What else are you trying to do? You trying to avoid war?
That sounds cool.
What else are you trying to do? Trying to eliminate student debt? I'm
Hey.
in. What else? What about healthcare? Free healthcare? I'm in.
And he's a radical.
See, that's a brilliant conversation. That's a good convo to have. Does it seem authentic? No, I think Joe Rogan is unaware of what his worldview revolves around. You know what I mean? He changes the wing to cater to as many views as possible. Bro, this man was literally hyping up Ron DeSantis last week, brother. He is the diametrical, he is the opposite of Bernie Sanders. There's no man that is closer to the opposite of Bernie Sanders than fucking Ron Death Santis. Let's hear it, though. This is Joe Rogan's on his lib arc.
What do you think that is about? What is this? It's not just abortion rights, but now they're going after gay marriage, too, which is so strange to me.
Oh, it's so strange. It's bro, it's strange to you if you think that the Republican Party is not built around cruelty. The Democratic Party is built around virtue signaling, and the Republican Party is built around cruelty, racial agitprop, and cruelty. That's it. But both of those parties are essentially playing a role in their they're doing theater. Both of these parties are a part of a theater play, okay? Ultimately. But you have to, at the very least, recognize that the Republican Party's role in that theater play is about being as cruel as possible to marginalized people and use them as a red herring. Society's crumbling because the West is falling apart as a consequence of immigration. Society's crumbling because Western supremacy is no longer in existence, because Western civilization is falling apart because of homosexuality and moral decay and moral degeneracy. That's what Republicans advocate for. That's what the fuck they say. So of course they're going to do all this shit.
Because gay marriage is not silly. It's marriage. It's marriage for people that are homosexual, and it's for them. It's important. They want it. They want to affirm their love and their relationship. And the fact that they're going after that now almost makes me feel like they want us to fight. They want to divide us in the best way they can. This is the best way for them to keep pulling off all the bullshit they're doing behind the scenes, is to get us to fight over things like gay marriage, or get us to fight over things like abortion.
You don't say. What? That's crazy. No way. That is so shocking. Color me surprised. What? How? What? That's never. Never that. I would never think that that's the case. Yeah, no shit, dude.
It's just why are you removing freedoms?
Yes.
And and then this new thing where they're, gun rights, trying to go after the Second Amendment.
I wonder if Joe Rogan will ever think about his own personal role in the culture war as a mechanism of divisiveness. Like, if you start realizing those things, then you have to maybe, do you think he'll realize that, like, he himself has, like, played a dramatic role in amplifying the divisiveness? What about you, though? My friend, what the conclusion that Joe Rogan just arrived at is what I've been advocating for the past 10 years. That these wedge issues, I talked about it on the Anthony Padilla interview. I talked about it time and time again. I have been talking about it for fucking 10 years. That ultimately, Americans agree on a lot more than they disagree on, especially as it pertains to social issues. And the idea of social issues being the only reason, the only fucking primary motivator to separate between these two teams in our bourgeois capitalist electoral system is because it takes away from the material realities. Democrats refuse to offer material restitution. Republicans are always going for additional cruelty. Both parties ultimately agree on our endless imperial conquests overseas, bombing brown people, okay? We always agree on deregulating certain aspects of the industry. We always agree, both parties always agree on fucking tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations. This is a fundamental part of my advocacy. And if you don't recognize that, that's because you've been duped into thinking that I have not been saying this, and I'm only playing my role, crying all the time about Republicans. I shit on Democrats so much that motherfuckers literally think I'm a Republican. There are people that have come into this community thinking that I was a goddamn Republican for like a week before they realize, like, holy shit, what is your political perspective?
If you're going to say that marriage is an important cultural institution to the fabric of America, you can't go and say, this is important, this is what we do, we create a family and we love one another and this is how we express our love, and then say, these Americans can't do that shit.
It's so homophobic because you're saying there's something wrong with being homosexual.
Ooh, whoa, Joe. Seems like you're virtue signaling, man. This argument that Joe is arriving at can be extended to pretty much all the other culture war issues that he plays a role in.
Yeah. And the fact that they're going after that now, like, that's the kind of shit that keeps me from being a Republican.
I love that, dude. He's like, if the Republicans weren't as like aggressive about, like, as open about their homophobia, like, I'd probably be a Republican. That's awesome.
Keeps you from being a Republican. Yeah. But that's one of the, like, people will say, like, oh, you're a secret conservative. I'm like, you could suck my dick. I'm so far away from being a Republican. Yeah. Just because I believe in the Second Amendment and just because I support the military and just because I support police. Yeah. Like, I was on welfare.
Brother, the reason why people think you're a conservative is because of your advocacy about, like, the shit that he said about homeless people, the shit that he said about, like, fucking laziness. Like, this is a direct contradiction to exactly what he said, like, last week when he was talking about how, like, laziness happens when people get money for free. I mean, look, I don't want to push people like this away, okay? And I do believe that Joe Rogan, much like many of these other people, have certain empathetic qualities that put them in the I guess progressive side. But people that are saying, like, oh, maybe he'll change. No, he's going to have, like, Ben Shabibo back on next week and then fucking say the most insane, idiotic bullshit again here.
I'm a bleeding heart liberal when it comes to a lot of shit. I just also believe in discipline and hard work.
Yeah, no, that's what you're right. I forgot. It's the leftists and progressives fucking hate discipline and hard work, famously. They're always like, oh, man, I fucking hate hard work and I hate discipline. These are like universal values that you are just ascribing to the fucking conservative movement for no fucking reason, dude. That's so insane. I'm sorry. I despise that, dude. I straight up, I fucking can't. Laziness is not a quality that is associated with the left or right. That's not a thing.
So torn on Andrew.
There are plenty of fucking hogs that are lazy as fuck, okay? Just like there are plenty of leftists that are lazy as fuck. God damn, dude. Democrats incentivize laziness. Yeah, dude, you're right. You're right, Scruff Gruff. That's totally true. Democrats incentivize laziness. Why? With social safety nets? Is that how? Is that how they do it? People that say stuff like this are so funny because you're in Twitch chat, which means, like, you're not even one of those fucking billionaires or millionaires that's going to benefit from crippling the social safety nets and then getting a nice little tax break at the tippy top end of that. You are suckling on the billionaire boot so fucking hard that you unironically are advocating for their propaganda. You're advocating for their better material conditions for them. There's a certain point that you get to with your finances where your money makes money for you. And there are so many people that are at that point. Those people are lazy, but society has wired your brain into thinking, oh, he has money, so he's working hard. Because meritocracy is a lie told to you since birth. So when are you at that point? What do you mean, when am I at that point? Am I at a point where my money could make more money for me? Absolutely, 100%. I don't do it because I'm brain broken and I love this. I love doing this and I don't need to. But yes, of course I am. But it's funny when people say like, oh, dude, well, look at what you're doing. Look at your financial predicament. It's like, bro, I'm literally in front of you for 8 to 10 hours every day. I'm streaming on a Sunday, brother. What do you think is going on? I'm not hiding it. Like, it's not like I'm taking like a fucking 2-month vacation or some shit. And then I come back and I'm like, all right, time to work again. And it would be totally valid if I wanted to do that as well. And in Twitter and in Discord and in offline chat, you're always online. Exactly. I'm brain broken. I love this shit. I love my community. I value it immensely. I owe everything to you guys. So this doesn't feel like real fucking work. And the main point is I want to make sure that everyone has opportunities like this. I want to make sure that everyone can have a future like this. I want to make sure that everyone can have emotionally satisfying, fulfilling, meaningful work and get paid adequately, get compensated for the actual labor that you put in, and have more autonomy over your own life. That is at the heart of leftist values. That is at the heart of Marxism. People often misunderstand Marxism. They say, oh, it's collectivism. Like, it doesn't care about the individual. No, dude. It's collective action so that individual freedoms can be uplifted. How can you claim to be a free person in the United States of America when we house, or shackle rather, 25% of the world's entire incarcerated population? How can you say you're truly free when you are shackled with debt just so you can become a more productive worker in the form of college debt, in the form of student loan debt, an amenity afforded to the average citizen in most other OECD nations? How can you say you're truly free when your employment is directly tied to your health care? How can you say you're free? Many of you are young right now, so you're not there yet. But when you get older, you're going to spend 80% of your adult lives working at facilities, working at corporations where you have no say over what you wear, what you can say, what you can do, what you can and can't do. There's your haircut. You will have no say over that whatsoever, out of the fear that if you don't follow whatever your manager or your boss is saying, you might lose your job. And if you lose your job, you lose any opportunity you have to put a fucking shelter over your head. You lose any opportunity you have to put food on your table, clothes on your back, and more importantly than all of that, healthcare. How can you say you're truly free when that is the reality that you exist under? You're not. They've just lied to you, and they've said that you're free, and you think that you're free, but you're not free. You have no freedom whatsoever. The only freedom you have is a false notion that you either work and have no say over your own lives whatsoever, or die, starve, and die. Let's continue.
No, I moved to Texas because I want fucking freedom.
What a perfect way to end that clip. Now, Joseph Robinette Rogan, obviously, he has freedom because he's fucking a multimillionaire. Those are the people who are truly free, let's be real.